again to everyone who's joined us. And now, because I'm not the keynote speaker, and I cannot be the keynote speaker because I'm not as knowledgeable, we have the most eminent, most accomplished, and most fitted keynote speaker who's joining us virtually, Dr. Maina. We're really excited to have you here join us, regardless and albeit remotely today. Over to you, Dr. Maina. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Good morning. Managing Partner, Duale, Ovia Alex-Adedipe, Alex-Adedipe. The partners, Duale, Ovia Alex-Adedipe. Industry leaders and chief executives present. Members of the fourth estate of the realm, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to have been invited to deliver this keynote address on a subject that is fundamental to building the Nigeria of our dreams. A nation defined by prosperity, innovation, and sustainable growth. First, however, I'll have to start with apologies. I regret that due to exigencies of official responsibilities and a demanding schedule, unfortunately, I was unable to join physically in Lagos, but I also partially blame your MD for the late invite. But nevertheless, I'm pleased to participate virtually in this important conversation. So let me commend our host, Duale, Ovia, and Alex-Adedipe for sustaining this annual business series. Nigeria needs platforms such as this, platforms that encourage the exchange of perspectives, stimulate healthy conversation, and foster the cross-fertilization of ideas that can drive meaningful progress and national development. To understand what makes an economy competitive today, it is useful to consider how the basis of economic competitiveness has evolved over time. More than a century ago, economies were primarily driven by agriculture and the trade in physical goods. The transatlantic trading system linked Africa, Europe, and North America through commodities such as sugar, coffee, and tobacco. As the Industrial Revolution gathered momentum and steam-powered factories spread across Europe, economic strength increasingly became tied to access to raw materials such as coal, iron, and cotton. The next phase was driven by railroads, motor vehicles, electricity, and oil. Global trade networks deepened, countries began to specialize, and comparative advantage emerged as defining features of economic competitiveness. Nations increasingly distinguished themselves through the exchange of raw materials, the production of manufactured goods, and the rendering of services across borders. Then came the information age. Computers, telecommunications, and the internet transformed how people communicated, conducted business, and accessed information. Connectivity and knowledge became increasingly important drivers of productivity and growth. Today, the world has entered another era. Economic growth is increasingly being driven by digital technologies powered by mobile broadband, cloud computing, and more recently, artificial intelligence. At the center of this transformation is data, often described as the new oil, which serves as the fuel powering the digital economy. Governments and businesses rely on data to understand consumer behavior, anticipate trends, and make informed decisions. Global digital platforms are built on data-driven business models, while artificial intelligence systems depend on vast data sets to learn, adapt, and improve. Data is what makes the digital economy intelligent, scalable, and competitive. Yet, unlike oil, data derives its value not from scarcity, but from connectivity, utilization, and innovation. The countries that lead in this new era will not necessarily be those with the largest reserves of natural resources. They will be those with the strongest digital infrastructure, the most innovative ecosystems, and the ability to transform data into economic opportunity and national prosperity. This shift is already reshaping economies, industries, and societies around the world. The digital economy now touches virtually every aspect of national life: e-commerce, financial technology, digital services, online media, healthcare, education, and public service delivery all depend increasingly on digital technologies. In many respects, the digital economy has become the backbone of modern economic activity. According to the UN Trade and Development Digital Economy Report of 2024, the global digital economy is estimated to be worth approximately $16 trillion and accounts for about 50% of global GDP. This report further notes that global e-commerce sales expanded by nearly 60% between 2016 and 2022, exceeding $27 trillion in value by 2022. Our dear country, Nigeria, is not left out of this transformation. With a population of over 215 million, the largest in Africa, and with about 60% below the age of 30, Nigeria possesses the scale, talent, and market potential to become Africa's leading digital economy. The country boasts a thriving e-commerce sector, a rapidly expanding digital payments ecosystem, multiple world-class data centers, strong financial technology companies, and one of Africa's most vibrant startup communities. Digital services increasingly underpin both commercial and government activities. Nigerians also continue to distinguish themselves globally in digital payments, fintech innovation, product support, and emerging technologies. Lagos in particular has earned the recognition of being Africa's leading technology hub. At the foundation of this digital transformation is the telecommunications sector, which provides the connectivity upon which digital services depend. As of March 2026, Nigeria has a broadband penetration of about 54.3% and growing, with a teledensity of 85.67%, while the active internet subscription stood at more than 150 million. In addition, the 2026 first quarter GDP figures released by the National Bureau of Statistics shows that the telecoms and information services sector grew by 12.24% in real terms year on year. This represents a significant improvement from the 7.82% recorded during the corresponding period in 2025, and further reinforces the sector's position as one of the country's most resilient engines of growth. Nigeria has therefore emerged as one of Africa's most dynamic digital economies and is increasingly repositioning itself as a significant player within the global digital ecosystem. So the question before us now is, how do we build on this progress and create a truly competitive digital economy? Nigeria's Digital Economic Policy and Strategy 2020 to 2030 identifies 8 critical pillars for accelerating the country's digital transformation. These are development regulation, digital literacy and skills, physical infrastructure, service infrastructure, digital services development and promotion, soft infrastructure, digital society and emerging technologies, and indigenous content development and adoption. Collectively, these pillars provide the framework through which Nigeria seeks to build a competitive and inclusive digital economy. Viewed through the lens of today's discussion, they converge around 3 central imperatives: infrastructure, investments, and innovation. Infrastructure provides the foundation upon which digital economies are built. This includes the fixed and mobile broadband networks that deliver connectivity, the service infrastructure that enables digital platforms and applications, and the soft infrastructure that promotes trust, security, and inclusion. Investment provides the capital required to build, scale, and sustain these digital ecosystems. Without investment, there can be no meaningful digital transformation. Businesses must see clear opportunities for growth, profitability, and long-term sustainability. Innovation ensures that economies remain relevant and competitive. It requires regulatory systems that are modern, agile, and responsive to technological change, while safeguarding competition, consumer welfare, and national interest. Equally important is digital literacy and skills development. Citizens cannot fully participate in the digital economy unless they possess the knowledge and competencies required to utilize digital technologies, productivity and safety. Although infrastructure is the visible foundation of the digital economy, allow me to begin with innovation. This is because innovation, investment, and infrastructure are mutually reinforcing. Innovation does not happen in a vacuum. It flourishes in environments where regulation provides certainty, encourages experimentation, and creates opportunities for growth. Nigeria's regulatory ecosystem across the sectors that power the digital economy has become increasingly collaborative, forward-looking, and adaptive. As governments, our responsibility is to create an enabling environment that allows businesses to innovate, compete, and thrive, while attracting the investment required for sustainable growth. A good example is the National Telecoms Policy of 2000, which laid the foundation for the liberalization and rapid expansion of Nigeria's telecommunications sector. At the time, Nigeria had fewer than 500,000 telephone lines. Today, the sector supports over 185 million active connected mobile subscriptions and contributes significantly to national economic output. Building upon this foundation, the NCC has continued to evolve its regulatory approach to meet the demands of an increasingly digital world. The Commission has placed great emphasis on collaborative digital regulation and data-driven decision-making. Policy and regulatory decisions must be informed by evidence, market reality, and stakeholder engagement. This promotes transparency, accountability, and predictability, while strengthening investor confidence, supporting competition, and fostering long-term sectorial stability. This brings me to the second imperative, investments. You would agree with me, the digital economy cannot grow without sustained investment. As technologies evolve and consumer demands increase, operators must continuously modernize their networks and deploy infrastructure required to support new digital services and applications. In fulfilling our mandates as the economic regulator of the Nigerian telecommunications sector, in 2025, we, as NCC, approved the adjustment of tariffs to support long-term sustainability of the industry in response to realities of the time. These adjustments were accompanied by commitments from operators to increase capital expenditure and accelerate network expansion. The results are already evident. During 2025 alone, telecommunication operators collectively invested more than $1 billion in network upgrades, investments in acquiring new spectrum, and infrastructure expansion, reversing a prolonged period of constrained capital investments in the sector. Operators have continued to signal a strong commitment to further investments, infrastructure investments, and service improvements in 2026. This illustrates a simple but important principle. Capital is mobile. Investors have choices. They invest where there is certainty, predictability, and confidence. One of the most important responsibilities of regulators, therefore, is to create an environment in which businesses can make long-term investment decisions with confidence. When policy is clear, regulation is transparent, and markets function efficiently, investment flows. The third imperative is infrastructure. When innovation is supported by sound regulation, it builds trust. Trust promotes healthy competition and attracts investment. Investment, in turn, translates into infrastructure. This is precisely what we're witnessing in Nigeria's telecommunications sector, which remains the foundation of the country's digital economy. Beyond telecommunication networks, Nigeria's wider digital infrastructure ecosystem is also expanding rapidly. The country's data center industry is witnessing rapid growth in recent years, driven by increasing demand for cloud services, digital platforms, and local data hosting. Facilities such as Equinix, LG1, LG2, and LG 2.3 data centers, Rack Center, and NTN Nigeria's Sifiso Dabengwa data center are helping to strengthen Nigeria's position as a regional digital hub. Additional investments, including Airtel's N-Extra data center, and indeed Equinix planned LG3 facility, and Kasi Cloud's large-scale interconnection and data center project in Lagos, further demonstrate growing confidence in Nigeria's digital future. Each of these investments has a real-world impact. Also, behind every new base station is a community with improved connectivity. Behind every kilometer of fiber is a business to access to new markets. Behind every data center is an ecosystem of digital services, innovation, and economic opportunity. Infrastructure, therefore, is not merely a technical asset. It is an economic enabler. Despite these achievements, Nigeria's digital economy has not yet reached its full potential. Infrastructure gaps remain. Energy challenges persist. Skills shortages continue to constrain growth, while certain regulatory bottlenecks still require attention. However, these challenges are not insurmountable. Government must continue to work collaboratively across institutions to create a business environment that promotes innovation, rewards investment, and supports sustainable growth. We must address barriers to deployment, streamline regulatory processes, and embrace technology-driven solutions that improve the ease of doing business. For industry players, the message is equally clear. Continued investment in network platforms, services, and innovations remain essential to delivering the quality of service that Nigerians expect and deserve. Investors, both local and international, also have a critical role to play. Digital transformation requires patient, long-term capital. The opportunities within Nigeria's digital economy are significant. With the right partnerships and investment decisions, these opportunities that can deliver strong commercial returns and meaningful development impacts. As a nation, we must also continue investing in our people. The digital economy ultimately depends on talent, skills, and human capacity. If Nigeria is to remain competitive in an increasingly digital world, we must equip our citizens with the knowledge and capabilities required to succeed. How history teaches us that every great nation and economic transformation has been built on a foundation. The agricultural age was built on land. The industrial age was built on energy and manufacturing. The digital age was built on, the information age, was built on connectivity. The emerging intelligent age will be built on digital infrastructure, data, innovation, and human capital. Nigeria possesses many of the ingredients required for success: a large market, a vibrant entrepreneurial culture, a growing technology ecosystem, strong investor interest, and one of the most talented populations anywhere in the world. The challenge before us is whatever we can build, the infrastructure, attract the required investment, and foster the innovation required to lead in this emerging era. I believe we can. The opportunity is before us. The responsibility is ours, and the time to act is now. I thank you for your attention, and once again commend the organizers for providing this important platform for dialogue and engagement. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Aminu Maida. I'm not sure if you can hear the applause, but we are really celebrating and thanking you in the room. Thank you for the nuggets that you have dropped. Thank you for the valuable insights that you have shared. But most